What is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. It is late. I'm recording super late. My eyes look like they're heavy. I'm like falling asleep. It's like 7:30. That's late to me, guys. I'm an old man. But today we're going to be talking about this last weekend. We're going to be talking about the tournament that just happened. We now have our Chaos and our Order divisions. We're going to be talking about the meta we saw develop and how that will translate to your ranked games. And also, if you are in a competitive scene, what it means for your competitive games. This is going to be a little bit of a spoiler, so if you guys are interested in the tournament, I'd recommend you pause, go watch it, and then come watch the video after, because I'm going to be spoiling the results, so go do that. Now, at this point, if you haven't left, you're ready to be spoiled, or you already know what happened. The Dragons versus Warriors met in the finals. It was a nice best of 5. Dragons won the first 2. Warriors then won the next 3 in straight sets. We saw a few more funky things in mid from Dardes, but for the most part, it was a little bit more normal. The Warriors actually won. They decided the divisions. We now have a shot of what the divisions look like. We have the Order division of the Dragons, Levi's, Ferrymen, and Hounds. And then the Chaos division is the Oni Warriors, Highland Ravens, Camelot Kings, and Gilded Gladiators. The Order division looks a lot stronger, but if you heard Mike during it, he doesn't mind that his division's a little bit stronger. He kind of wanted it, kind of how he envisioned it with all these storylines in the Order division. So pretty good setup there. Excited to see, the upside of having strong teams in your division is you get to play against stronger teams in the regular season. And if you have weaker teams in your division, like the Chaos side, then you just kind of have easier games, so you're not as pressured in the regular season, and you don't have to worry too much about winning. But, I mean, those could be trap games, too. So, yeah, let's talk about the picks we saw. Chernobog, Raijin, 2 gods that absolutely dominated the entire tournament. 100% pick ban rate. Chernobog only made it through 5 times. He saw every other game ban. Raijin was a lot more. So Raijin, Churn should be considered the 2 best backliners at this point. Chernobog flexes to both mid and ADC. We'll say Raijin is a mid laner, but we did see him 1 time in solo lane. But it was a very niche counter pick into Yorm. It's going to be very rare if we even ever see it again. Maybe it's just a tournament thing, but there is potential for Raijin to go to solo lane. Back to ADC. Honor was actually the next contested god. He was actually picked up 12 games. He won, I think it was half of them. So Honor seems to be in a pretty good spot. A lot of people like that potential in solo lane to actually kind of just dominate and run through the game. We saw some Freyas from Cyclone. We saw some Ramas. Hu Yi even once or twice, but I think Hu Yi's in a pretty bad spot. The builds are looking like a lot of crit, but do not forget your kin size. Zatman was tweeting a lot about it. Do not miss out on your kin size. Kins is still super important. You need to be able to shred the frontliners. Crit is very good, though. Crit is in a very good spot, especially Fail Not. For all you Fail Not lovers out there, I just transitioned into a Fail Not lover. I very, very much enjoy it now. Beforehand, I didn't love it too much, but now I'm seeing it all the time, and it's fun to build, so. Talking about mid lane, Raijin. We saw some resurgence of the Morrigan. We saw Pele mid from Paul. We saw Athena mid from Dardes. Mid lane seems to be more open than it's kind of ever been. We should see a lot of just pretty funky stuff for the rest of this phase. And I think that's cool. I think mid lane should be the role that kind of transitions into something that's more than just mid laners. I think Benny playing the Guardian mids also is something that could happen. The Hounds did get eliminated very early. They kind of got 3-0 stomped. Same with the Gladiators. So Snoopy, Benny, we didn't get to see what they really wanted to play. So there's always potential that these players are holding something back, and they're going to be showing it during the regular season phase. Jungle had about 3 top tier characters, and then the rest was just kind of a bunch of niche characters, or if there's a bunch of bans, you'd see another character picked. A lot of Pele. She's at a very good spot. A lot of Rat and a lot of Kama. Rat, Kama were a little surprising. We also saw a whole lot of Soul Eater. So I would try to mix in Soul Eater, test around some Soul Eater in your builds, first and second. So sometimes we saw Jotun Soul Eater, sometimes we just saw Soul Eater into Brawlers. Kind of just dependent on if you need anti-heal. The builds were a little surprising in jungle. I didn't think Soul Eater was going to be that impactful, but it does seem to be taking over the jungle meta. But other than that, nothing too surprising in the jungle. Support was the story of 5 OP Guardians, and one of them wasn't even played in support, and that's the Athena. We had Charon, Yem, Ares, Ganesh, and then if I had to add in an extra 5th in place of the Athena, I would say Khepri. He did win a lot, but he was also played by the team that won the tournament, so that kind of helps. It's kind of like Ganesh was last tournament, where a lot of teams weren't playing the Ganesh too much, and then Aurora was winning a lot with it, and then they're like, okay, we got to play Ganesh because Aurora's winning with it, and they're winning the tournament. So Khepri could be in a slot where he is very good, or he's more of a niche, just to kind of play by the top tier teams. We also saw a lot of double stacking. It seems like it's very hard for players to get punished in their support builds when they do double stacking. It is a little aggressive because you're kind of defaulting your next 5 to 10 minutes after you finish that second stacking item to kind of get that stacking done, because a 7-stack Prophetic and a 0-stack Thebe, when you finish like actually building it, is very weak. But then you go 5-10 minutes down the road and you have fully stacked Thebes, you're 20 stacks in your prophetic, you're going to be a lot stronger. Beyond that, no surprise with Irreverent, Pridman in support. We saw a lot of benevolence. The war flag has kind of gone away. We haven't seen a lot of war flag. It's been a lot of benevolence, and it's usually compassion. Some heroism has been sprinkled in. Solo lane, not too surprising, was Wukong and Yorm. What was a little surprising was their win rates, actually. Wukong went 1-9, Yorm went 1-5, and the most picked character was actually Amaterasu, who, I mean, I did predict Ama was going to be a little underrated. I think she's very, very good right now. Maybe the best solo. I think Wukong is still very, very good. So 1-9, I wouldn't say too much about it. But Ama went 9-2. She won 9 games, lost 2. Ama seems to be in a great, great spot. Also from a lot of those solo laners, we've seen a lot of Thebes and prophetic stacks, even from solo lane. Solo or Troll, the tournament winner, went Thebes a lot. He went prophetic. A little less, but he still went it a little bit. Same with Nico. We saw some Thebes. Final K, we saw some Thebes. So Thebes might have to be worked into your solo lane builds. As a general snapshot for the entire meta, it didn't seem too snowbally. The games kind of went till 30 minutes at the minimum. And then that first EFG kind of decided to win a lot of the times. But I will say, there did seem to be potential for snowballing even between these better teams. Both game 5s for the Warriors versus the Dragons and the Levi's, they snowballed the game very, very hard. So maybe if teams get a little bit stronger, they get a little bit smarter, a little bit more confident, they can start rolling out these snowball early comps and actually just start running teams over. And that's what I expect will happen. I expect next phase to be teams practicing that snowball potential. And that's how I really think this Dragons and Warriors teams will just feel a lot better in this next phase with a little bit more practice. Now, touching on ranked, what does this competitive stuff mean for ranked? I think Churn is probably the best ranked god in the game. I think Apollo is another very good ranked god. I think if you know how to use Apollo's ult correctly and you're not just using him to split push, you're actually ulting into fights. If you get a lead, you're playing around beacons and gold fears and pyres and stuff like that. I think Apollo is very good. I think people play Apollo wrong a lot where it's just perma pushing duo lane and then ulting out. That's not the reason you're picking Apollo. You're picking Apollo for the global pressure towards mid. If you see a fight happening in mid and you've already cleared your duo wave, just ult over to that fight. The worst that happens is you don't have to ult in and you just reset and then walk out of base and you don't miss a wave. So try using your ult like that a little bit more. Churn is kind of the same thing, except you can ult back to lane and not lose all your mana, win the 1v1 fight, or you can ult to mid lane fights. I think Churn is absolutely busted. Try out some Honor also. Also, don't forget, build kin size. Kin size is busted. Zapman said it himself. The 3 times said it is the best hunter item. Please build it. General shot about mid lane. Ryzen is absolutely busted. I think Thoth is going to be a very good ranked character. I think he's a bit harder to play in competitive because he's so easy to punish if you first pick him. I think that transitions also to ranked, where if you're a first pick and you're picking Thoth, there is so many junglers that can just ruin your day. Daji, Fenrir, Susano, and that's just naming 3 that came to my mind right like that. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Janice is terrible, but, big but, if you know what you're doing with Janice, you know how to be unselfish. I think Janice is like that 3rd best mid laner if you know how to play him. And this is like somebody else saying, yeah, you know how to play him. You play him really well. You don't just think to yourself, I know how to play Janice. Somebody should tell you you're good at Janice before you start playing Janice, because there's bad Janices that just ruin ranked games. So if you're a good Janice, he's like that 3rd one. Other than that, Thoth and Ryzen. I think Ryzen is just a lot easier to top 3. I think support. I think Charon is actually the best support in ranked right now. Even though he didn't see a ton of success in the SPL, I think he's just way less abusable in ranked. So play a lot of Charon. I would recommend double stacking into a Chronos Pendant. And I think he's the only one War Flag God that should continue being a War Flag God no matter what. Keep building him War Flag. He abuses it really well. Get your prophetic online early and you will dominate, maybe even 1v5. And then the next god I'm going to say is Ares. Ares in support is absolutely busted, but do not double stack on Ares. Ares is not a double stack god. He's Thebes Sov like 99% of games. Just build Thebes Sov. Maybe it feels boring as the best power spikes you can have on Ares. Going to solo lane, just all 3 of the characters, even though Alma saw the most success and Wukong and Yorm didn't see a ton, I think all 3 are going to be perfect ranked gods. They all rotate. They all clear well. They cannot lose solo lane. They're very good at just living in the solo lane. Play those. Also, Thor is another god that I would like to mention. And then lastly, go out there and have fun. I've been tilting a lot with ranks, so make sure you guys are just keeping an eye on that mental. If you're not feeling good after a first rank game, maybe somebody trolls you, dodge that Q or just take a little break, hydrate, drink some water, whatever it is. Make sure you guys are having fun. That's the entire point of playing a game. You have fun, but winning is fun, so try to win too. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.